Fuel Factor X. This, again, is a product that I've been fortunate enough to use for about 14 years now. I've used it in my construction companies, in my trucking companies, around the ranch and the farm, and it's just a phenomenal product. And I'm so happy that one of my best friends on the planet, Mr. Josh Swagel, who also had some experience with this product, was smart enough and was intuitive enough to bring this back to the marketplace so that the masses could benefit from the FFX product. So here's what you can expect by using Fuel Factor X. The first thing it's going to do is going to prolong your engine life. I remember when I first got started with this back in 2008, was using it and testing it for myself. My dad was an over-the-road truck driver, and so I sent a bottle with him. He was going from Idaho to Los Angeles, California. I went out and dumped it in his tanks. He drove to California, and when he got there, he called me, and I was looking for him to tell me how much fuel economy he was going to save, and which he was as well. But he called me. He says, I haven't fueled the truck yet, so I'm not sure what my fuel economy is. He says, but this is definitely helping my engine, because twice a week for 5 years, I've backed the same truck into the same dock. And for the first time ever, I can see out of my mirrors enough to read the signs on the building. They're not vibrating no more like they used to from that big 475 cat engine vibrating things. He says it's smoothed out my engine and it's lubricating things to where my engine's actually running at a better level than it ever has. And that's why Fuel Factor X is just one of the benefits, is prolonging the engine life. And we'll get into how that all works a little bit later. It'll also enhance your performance. You can expect to see, 5 or 10% more horsepower because of our burn rate modifier in our product. And the big one, and the thing that most people get excited about, is it will improve your fuel economy. I've noticed anywhere from 10 to 15, in some cases 18% over the years, and all the stuff I've put it in and the stuff I've personally used. And what a blessing it is to be able to save money on fuel, especially right now. I mean, fuel prices, I would classify it as a crisis at this point. There's $6 someplace. I actually live in Idaho. Diesel's $5. It was about as cheap as you can get it anywhere in the world. But we have a product that can go across the globe. As you were looking at the chat when people were coming on, there was people, I counted at least 20 different countries tuning in, and we have a product that can help people all over the world, and fuel prices just get more expensive, it seems like, as you travel around the globe. So, and then this is a big one as well, reduces emissions. I mean, for years, we've been aware that, carbon gases are a problem, that climate change could be happening or is happening. And everybody's aware that we would like to do something about it, but not many people are willing to spend money to do something about it. Now, through using FFX, you can reduce your emissions by up to 1/3 just by using our product and saving money while you do it. So now you can go green and get paid to do it through the fuel savings in FFX. So just think about this for a minute. Reduces emissions up to 1/3. If everybody in the world put this in their tank right now, tonight, and tomorrow, we cut all carbon emissions from vehicles by 1/3, how incredible would that be? And that's exactly what we can do with Fuel Factor X. So it's a very green product as well. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about fuel additives versus fuel treatments, because this is what sets us apart, is we're an all-in-one solution. There's a lot of products out there that will boost your octane. There's a lot of products out there that boost your cetane. There's products that will help you, stabilize your fuel so it lasts longer. There's products that will help you lubricate your engines, but there really isn't any that I've found that's an all-in-one solution. That's what makes us a fuel treatment and not a fuel additive. And fuel treatments, this fuel treatment is where you can get the all-in-one solution. So not only are you saving money on your fuel, saving money on maintenance, saving money on so many other things, and keeping your car lasting longer, which is, that's pretty valid right now. I don't know how many of you tried to go out and buy a new car recently, or even a used one. The new ones are 30% over MSRP, and the used ones are more expensive than that, which is just crazy. So taking care of your car, it's never been a more important time than now to do that. And people's cars, for most people, it's their second largest investment that they'll ever have next to their homes. So you might as well take care of it and save some money while you're doing it. Now, we get asked this is probably the question I get the most all the time. What does it work in? Will it work in this? Will it work in that? Here's your answer. It's yes. It works in cars, trucks, motorcycles, generators, tractors, ATVs, over-the-road semis, farming equipment. If it burns fuel, gas or diesel, it will work in it. Even home heating oils or even kerosene. I said at the first, I have a construction company, and here in Idaho, in the winter times, it gets really cold, so we have to heat homes before they're completed and the furnaces are in, and we use kerosene heaters or diesel heaters, little turbo heaters that will heat up the home so the drywallers can get their stuff done and whatever. If you put Ffx into that fuel, it will last longer. The tank of fuel lasts longer. What I also noticed is it won't run you out of the house. And those of you that use these jet heaters, you've seen how much emissions come out of those. Actually, your eyes will start watering if you don't open windows from the fumes. And by using this product, it takes care of all the fumes because it's burning the fuel more efficiently instead of wasting it, so you can actually work in it. And I just share that with you to impress upon you that, yes, it will work in it. It'll work in any combustible fuel, any combustible engine, because it's chemistry and science. It's not an additive. And again, that's where the fuel treatment is so important. So in order to get the same benefits that you get from using just 1/4 of an ounce, if you look at this bottle, there's that little bulb on top. There's 1/4 of an ounce sitting in that little bulb right there. That treats 20 gallons of fuel. And it does all the things that I've been talking about. In order to do the same, you would have to go into an automotive or parts store. You'd have to purchase 7 or 8 products like you see in this picture, spend $80 or $90, combine them all into your tank to achieve what just a few dollars and 1/4 of an ounce of Ffx will do. This right here is what really sets us apart and makes us the most effective fuel formulation on the planet, in my opinion, and everything I've used to achieve the results that we're looking to achieve through using fuel treatments. So there's a good visual for you right there. A lot of product to do what a little bit of ours does. And here's why that is. Organometallic compound is really the main formula of our product of Fuel Factor X. And it's actually chemistry and science. As a matter of fact, in 1973, the 2 gentlemen that invented organometallic compound actually won the Nobel Prize for doing so. And they did it because it worked, right? It actually works, and it's been used for so long in the mining industries. It's been used in the trucking industries and industrial industries, and has done a lot to save people a ton of money on fuel. And what I learned through my meeting people and being involved with this product for so long, and people that's used it for decades, is they've actually noticed in the mining world that they save more money based on the fact that their top ends of their engines are lasting longer through the lubricants in the fuel, which is pretty big because they're saving 13 or 14% on fuel, but they're cutting costs on longevity of their engines and the rebuilds and the remans as well. So the lubricating factor is a big one. There's detergents that keeps your engine running good. There's polymerization retardants that actually help sludge and build up from forming in your tank, whether it's a tank on your car, or if it's a storage tank at the farm, or a storage tank at the trucking company, or just whatever storage tank you have, your lawnmower for the winter, whatever the case may be, the polymerization retardants and the rust and corrosion inhibitors help keep that fuel lasting good for a long time, along with a fuel stabilizer that will keep fuel great for years and years, and you don't have to worry about it going bad, as well as the emulsifier, which will remove the water from your fuel. So whether you're storing fuel, using fuel, this product needs to be in it. Now, here's what you're going to see as a result of using Ffx. In most cases, one of 4 things will happen. You'll see an instant fuel economy improvement. You'll get to that 10 to 15%. It'll level off, and that's what happens a lot of the time. You'll also see an up and then a down, and then it'll go back up and achieve the results. Or you may see nothing for a little while and you'll see it go up, or you may actually see a dip and then you'll see your fuel economy increase. And I'm going to explain why and how that is, because a lot of people, they'll call with these questions going, is this normal? Is this normal? And the answer is yes. So most of the time, people just see an instant improvement in their fuel economy. Some of the times you'll actually see no noticeable difference, and then you'll see your fuel economy rise and you'll get to the optimal level that you was hoping for. And there's a lot of factors that come into play there, but a lot of it's, horsepower usage, your engine getting cleaned out, the different loads you might be using and things like that versus your baseline compared to where your testing phase is. So just know that it might take a little bit of time, and we'll actually coach you how to get your first few tanks going and what you should do there. You'll also see a dip, and the dip in fuel economy comes from you've ran bad gas, you've ran bad diesel, you got some sludge or buildup in your engine, there's a lot of miles on it. We got to clean that out real good, and then you'll see the optimum result. So if you actually lose a little fuel economy, don't panic. Just keep using it and you'll get to the end result, or you'll actually see instant increase and go back down and go back up. And again, that's just depending on how your computer's reading the burn rate of your fuel, how dirty your engine was, and how much cleaning's happening. So I just wanted to share this with everybody so they understood this is normal. And at the end of the day, as long as you give it the full 7 tank challenge, you'll see that optimum result. And in that last graph, you've seen everybody ended at the same place. And so it's important to give it time. And now I'm going to go over some frequently asked questions, because these are what we get asked the most, and they're valid questions, and I wanted to make sure we address them on this call. This is a big one. Does Ffx affect warranties? There's a few reasons it does not, and a couple of them are listed here. One reason is we don't change the fuel specifications. So there's no warranty to void, because one, if you did have an engine problem, they dip your fuel, they don't know what's in there if we're not changing fuel specifications. And there's an ASTM D975 on our website, which is a big fancy word for a test that shows we don't void warranties. There's also an act of Congress passed a long time ago called the Magnuson Moss Act that in a nutshell says no engine manufacturer can void warranties for any aftermarket products or parts unless they can prove the damage happened by that product or part being added to the car. So in short, unless they can prove this product did something to the engine, they cannot void your warranty over it. And it's never happened, but if it ever did happen and that day came, we do have a general liability policy that will pick up any issues you have with your engine. So trust me and do your own research if you need, but just know you're safe using this in all of your engines, all of your cars. I've been using it for 14 years and I've used a bunch of it in all aspects, from farming to sports cars to trucking industry, construction equipment, etc. We just been down that road and use it, and it's a phenomenal product, and you're not going to have any issues with engine warranties. Are there special instructions for using Ffx? Yes, and this is super important. You need to make sure you double dose your first 2 to 3 tanks. And if you look down below, the treatment ratio is right there. But the treatment ratio is 1 to 10,000, or 1/4 ounce for 20 gallons. Now, your first 2 or 3 tanks, it's important to double dose because, as we just discussed a little bit ago, we have a cleaning process that needs to happen. We got to get the car's computer on board with what we're doing, and all that happens better by double dosing the first 2 to 3 tanks. So don't just put one foil pack or one single dose in your car and judge the results off of that. Make sure you're double dosing the first 2 to 3 tanks, and you run a few tanks after that as well. And how can I reduce my emissions with Ffx? So without getting super scientific and technical, the way the organometallic compound works is it actually atomizes your fuel cells, which makes them a little bit smaller, so they ignite sooner. Therefore, they burn longer, turning more of the fuel into power and less into waste going out the tailpipe. So by increasing fuel economy, you have no other option but to be reducing emissions, because you're using the fuel for power instead of waste. So I hope that answers that question. There's a couple of more here. Does Ffx help with lubrication? We've completely covered that. The lubricity agent means that the injectors are getting enough lubrication. And in about 2009 or so, they took a lot of lubricity out of fuels by adding ethanol and different things, so that there wasn't as much lubrication in the fuel, trying to reduce people's emissions. It actually was hurting engines. And adding and introducing Ffx back into your fuel will offset all that stuff and make your engine run much smoother and lubricate it to make it last much, much longer. How can I be assured that the use of Ffx will not cause my engine to malfunction? It's been tested, tried, and proven. And again, we have an American Society of Technology and Materials test that you can have access to to where they've actually taken and ran it for a long time and took the engines apart to see what they look like after and before. And it's pretty incredible what this product can do. Maintenance costs. So it all depends on, where you're at. If you own a whole bunch of equipment and stuff, it's going to save you a whole bunch of money. If you're just putting in your car, it's going to save you a little money. And I'll just tell you a quick story. I don't remember the year. It had to have been probably a 2011 or 12 Ford F-150. It had 70 or 80,000 miles on it. It was one of my fleet trucks. I took it in for an oil change at the 5,000 miles that they recommended. And at the Ford dealer, they take all of your liquids and they put them on a little chart to see how dirty they are, see if there's any metal clippings and stuff in there. And they come out and showed me at 5,000 miles, my engine oil was twice as clean as the truck they were changing with 5,000 miles on it, because my engine was running so much cleaner with less friction that my oil didn't break down as fast. So I was actually able to extend my service intervals. So yes, it has a big impact on maintenance and engine life expectancy. And we already covered this. If people don't see improvement in fuel economy right away, keep going. It'll happen. It always does. It's just the way it works. It's science. It works each and every time. It doesn't, pick that it likes Fords and not Chevys. It doesn't pick that it likes women and not men. If you put it in and you give it enough time, it is science. It will work, and you'll see those results of fuel economy improvement. Now, here's what is so awesome about this product. You can buy one single dose for $4.99. So the very most it costs is $5 to buy a single. It's the most expensive way you can buy it. And if you put $5 in with a 10 to 15% savings, you can expect, $15 back out, $10 to $15 back out. So if I traded you $5 for $15, you would want to trade me again. Or as Josh always says, go to an ATM. If you put $5 in it and it spits 15 or 20 bucks back out, how often are you going to go to that ATM? And it's so true, because everybody we know is going to buy fuel, right? At least 99% of them. Everybody we know is not happy with the fuel prices and is looking for a solution. So this product is for everybody. And for the first time ever, using a product, you can actually save 2 to 3 times what it costs you. I've tried the stock market. I've done okay in crypto, but I've never been guaranteed a 2 to 3% return on my money. And I'll add this too, with a money back guarantee. So if everything I just told you about saving money after you do the 7-tank challenge or 5 to 7 tanks, and you're not happy, we'll refund your money. No questions asked. And you can literally try this risk-free and see all the benefits. One other thing I want to point out is while we're talking about fuel savings, is because the way the organometallic works and the way it makes your fuel ignite sooner, so there's less pre-ignition or none, you can actually drop down from the higher octane levels to the lower octane levels. So if you have a car, I have one, my wife has a Stinger, supposed to run the 91 or 93 octane in it. We've been able to drop down to 87 and still get just as good or better performance out of that car by using Ffx. So I'm really saving, 70, 80 cents a gallon by the time I have the difference in the fuel economy, the difference in the octane levels in that vehicle. So if you're running high performance engines and you're spending that extra money on fuel, just know, or on high octane, just know you don't have to do that anymore. And it's just another big savings that you'll get through using Ffx. Now, if you look down the screen, you can actually get a 4-ounce bottle for $59. That 4-ounce bottle is 16 treatments of 20-gallon tanks. So you put a little 4-ounce bottle in your door panel, you use it for a few months, however long it takes to get through 16 gallons, and it's always there. It's easy to use. And again, the product's backed by so much science and test data and time that it's crazy. And when I seen all this for the first time, because I was skeptical, I'll be honest with you, and I know a lot of people are, I'm sitting here looking at this and I learn all these different things. And at some point I'm going, okay, now this is just an IQ test. There's insurance, there's the Magnuson Moss Act. There's all these reasons why I have no worries about running any product really in my tank. And this one is either going to save me a bunch of money or it's not, and I get my money back if it's not. And so I passed the IQ test in 2008. I started using the product. It's been an incredible journey. And I've actually